this is a very common idea about how our emotional system works. Let's say the yellow ball is our emotions, the blue ball are our thoughts, and the red ball is our body. So a lot of people believe that this is how a human functions. Body, mind, and soul. Body, mind, and feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. So when you say, I am my thought, or I am my body, or I am my emotions, all your awareness is here. But they forgot one, and that is consciousness.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. So consciousness is the one who chooses. And when we take distance from our emotions, we can control it with this one. We cannot control our emotions with emotions. We cannot control our mind, like Einstein said, with our mind.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this sentence is one that I use more than only now. But the real difference is that after this English sentence, the rest of the podcast will also be in English. And I'm here with Vera Helleman. We made a podcast in the past. And also, can we say that we became friends?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And so for you, what was the reason that you wanted to make a podcast in English?
Mm-hmm. Well, it was a bit of a joint adventure. And so I don't know why exactly, but it feels like there's something changing in the collective field, which we both apparently resonated on. And for me in English is because I had a new download with a lot of information, and it all came in English. And I was trying to write it in Dutch in a book, and it didn't work. And every time I started again with writing, it came out in English. And then I couldn't read it exactly, and I translated it again in Dutch, and it became so complex that I said, okay, apparently this needs to be in English. So I'm still learning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can imagine, because you're, you can say founder, but maybe you can also say you are the thought leader or the person of influence who's holding the flag called Emotion Codex.
Yes.
And the first thing that pops my mind is when it comes to emotions and when it comes to the English language, there are much more words in English. And if I see how much detail there is in the world of emotion, I can imagine that you need a language that embodies all these little details.
Yes, that's still very difficult, and to really comprehend, of course, that skill. But I got the feeling that in Dutch, there are different emotions which you have differentiations in than in English. And that is, of course, with every culture different. They say that Eskimos have 80 different words for snow.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I think the same counts for emotions too in different cultures.
Yeah, it's really interesting also because, and now we're in the part of emotions. But for me, it's also interesting that when you create something new from source, you can probably say, it always starts like, very generalistic like in the psychology, they talked about 4 emotions or 4 groups of emotions, right?
Yes, they talked in the early days in the psychology, they knew 4 basic emotions. Joy, fear, anger, and sadness. And then after a while, they say, no, we have also disgust and, what was it, surprise. And just recently, they came up with a 7th one, and that was contempt. I don't use basic emotion, but emotion groups that are bundles of different, as well as positive and negative emotions in that group. And there are 8 groups. And that's actually very mathematic.
Mm-hmm.
There's also love contained with it.
And why is it so important that there are so many emotions? Because a couple of years ago, you wrote the Emotional Encyclopedia, I think I call it right if I translate.
An encyclopedia of emotions.
Yeah, and it was around 350 emotions, right?
Yes. And after I wrote it, I got a lot of emails from people, and they delivered me 75 more emotions. I didn't write them yet, but so, yeah.
Yeah, and was it immediately from the first beginning that there were so many different emotions?
Well, I think there are even more emotions because it's a scale. So every time that we feel something, right now also we feel. But when I needed to translate it right now, that's a bit difficult. So we came up with translations for certain feelings. So the 350 emotions is just a language thing. It is vocabulary about what we feel, and how fear, for example, feels for you is different to how feels for me.
Mm-hmm.
And chaos or resistance, for example, means that is a soup diagnose.
Yeah, and how is it different to give language to all these different emotions? And how is this different to labeling? Because I think there's a big difference between labeling and giving language to emotions. Am I right?
What do you mean by labeling?
I mean, like what we see, for example, in the DSM-4 or 5. That's
or 6. Where are we?
Yeah, where are we? But then you can say, "Oh, you're an autistic person," or "Oh, you have ADHD." But most of the time, instead of uplifting a person, these labels will make your world smaller. And
yes, it's the identifying part, I think you mean, with labeling. So the moment we identified with, for example, a DSM-5 diagnose, or we label with I am sad or I am angry, I am. So we identify with the emotions, and then the emotion gets a grip of us. But when we, for example, and that is so beautiful of the English language, we in Dutch say I am angry, but the feeling I feel angry, I feel anger is more. There's more distance from you and the emotion, and also more control. So the identifying with emotions, that's a tricky part.
it sounds very paradoxical that you take more distance but get more control.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you believe that there's a reason for it? That when you feel instead of identify with an emotion, why can it help you to have more influence?
Yes. Well, actually, I brought a model with me, and I have different kinds of model. I've made 3-dimensional models. So I take it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm very sorry. So let's start with this one. This is a very common idea about how our emotional system works. Let's say the yellow ball is our emotions, the blue ball are our thoughts, and the red ball is our body. So a lot of people believe that this is how a human functions: body, mind, and soul. Body, mind, and feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. So when you say, I am my thought, of I am my body, or I am my emotions, all your awareness is here. But they forgot one, and that is consciousness.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. So consciousness is the one who chooses. And when we take distance from our emotions, we can control it with this one. We cannot control our emotions with emotions. We cannot control our mind, like Einstein said, with our mind.
Yeah.
And they all function together. They work together. So, for example, when thoughts come up, it is actually the chooser that says that thought is true. Then an emotion gives feedback on the belief. When we say it's true, a thought becomes a belief. An emotion gives feedback on the belief, and it sets the body in motion. And that is how we are pushed forward through emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a very important one. Interesting, eh?
Yeah, it's absolutely interesting. And I was thinking, so also for the listener, so first we had a triangle, and now when we put conscious through it or to it, we actually create a pyramid. So we make it 3-dimensional.
Well, this is not a pyramid, it's a tetrahedron.
Yeah,
actually,
okay.
But it becomes...
Yeah, almost.
It becomes a 3-dimensional model with 4 dimensions.
Yeah, so this consciousness put it in a 3-dimensional
perspective.
Yeah.
Yes, totally.
And that's also very metaphorical for real life, because real life is not like a old computer game in 2 dimensions.
No, exactly. And actually this sounds so logic and so simple, but when I saw this, I was very, oh wow. Because what we always thought was there's earth and there's consciousness. And we always thought, at least I thought, that this is the human self and this is the higher self, the lower self and the higher self. Mm-hmm. And when I really understood it, I understood that these are all 25% involved in everything that we do.
Mm-hmm.
So they all also need 25% spoken to and addressed to.
It's interesting. Does it also mean that this 25% of consciousness, that we probably also make it too important? Because sometimes we say in the non-duality, like everything is consciousness and all the rest is bullshit.
It is. Well, not exactly. When you look at the earthly world, we think very high of intelligence. We also are very used to the physical. We believe it after we've seen it in the physical. So these are very evolved. A feeling we always neglected, ignored. We did a lot with it, but we all strive for happiness. And happiness is also a feeling. So this is a very complex one and also not tangible. And then consciousness. What I wanted to say? What was your question again?
That we make conscious too important. Yeah.
It is. So what happened is that this was very much addressed to, and this not. So right now it is very important because we aren't balanced.
Mm-hmm.
And there needs to become balanced to use them all 100%.
Yeah, so you can say they are all 100% important.
Yes.
Yeah. What's also interesting to me when you compare this body part, this thought part,
mm-hmm.
and
feeling
feeling part, interesting that I exactly forget this one, but okay. But so there's no option to have to take distance from your feelings, to be cognitive about it, or to take distance from your thoughts to get into your feeling, because now we use the consciousness to zoom out and therefore have more control.
Mm-hmm.
But isn't it also true that we can, according to Einstein, finding the solution on another place than the problem is?
Yes.
That we put ourselves, for example, into thoughts instead of into overviewing from a conscious place.
Yes. Yes, it can, and they will all work together. So a thought does nothing on itself. It needs someone who gives it attention. This is the one who gives it attention. So you can give your attention to your thoughts and search. So they have all different characteristics. So this is very vast and physical, and this is very gas forming almost. And this is always about the past and the future. It's never about the now. This is always in the now. These are also. This never.
Yeah.
And this goes beyond time and space. This actually divides.
Yeah. When you say this for the listener,
the mind.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm sorry. And so when they say it's all in our consciousness and the rest is bullshit, actually it is, because here's our awareness, and without awareness we couldn't be aware of this. So without awareness this wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
It is so we have so overlooked the fundamentals. These are the fundamentals of our existence, the DNA of our existence.
Mm-hmm.
And I've divided even this into different parts of these fundamentals.
Yeah, and so we had a triangle, and then it became a three-dimensional object. I also see something even bigger. It's, how can I call it? It's like a square, or what is it?
It's a cube.
A cube, yeah.
It's a cube. This is the Emotion Codex. But actually, you can also say it's a Merkaba. When you see it two-dimensionally, it is a Star of David.
Mm-hmm.
It is a symbol that you see in ancient pyramids, and I never noticed it actually. But then all this information came to me in symbolic language, and then I needed to unpack it and understood what the symbols were about. And I was looking it up on the internet and in books, but they weren't explaining what I felt about it, and I was what whispered about it. And then I understood actually that this was a way of, now we go deep. I'll put it aside. What happened was that I got all these memories. I got all these memories about how I was born, weeks after I was born, but also what happened before I was born. And I saw all these visuals about me walking through these pyramids and touching all the symbols. And I understood that we, in the crowd I was with, were drawing them in this pyramid as so that we in the future would remember how it worked. So all these symbols explain how this physical creative reality works. So it's all about energy. Every symbol that I saw in the pyramid was about explaining how energy worked. And then I got all these memories about where this information came from, and how I chose to bring this to the world in the form of education about emotions, because emotions are so close to us and so recognizable, but so dense and so almost physical for a lot of people. It is the most physical, dense example of how energy works that people can relate to. So actually the Emotion Codex is about emotion, but this is far more about energy and how energy works and how this creative reality is built on an energetic template. So I throw you to rock in the river now, but
and this cube compared with this triangle
actually when you look at it closely, it contains two triangles, two tetrahedrons. So sometimes I say there's the feminine and a masculine. I don't like the word of it. It is an outwarding energy and an inwarding energy. It is actually, this is the breath and the lungs of our existence. So this is an energetic field. It is the energetic field around us that vitalizes us, that keeps our posture, and it is a continuously breath of outwarding and inwarding. So the inwarding energy is preserving our own energy and our existence and what we need to stay healthy and vitalized. But the outward energy is how we actually are being of service to the collective. And that is interesting because a lot of people live in the black ball, me, and identifying and everything. But actually, when you follow the rhythm of the inwarding and outwarding energy, is in the end you will understand that it was never about you alone. We all have some kind of role in the collective, as we are a bee crowd, and that is what this reveals.
Yeah. It's also interesting that if I see this shape and it's not completely the same, but it also brings me to Brussels, to the Atomium.
What is that, a museum?
No, that's a very big object that probably stands for the atom. And I'm not sure. Probably people can comment in the reactions, but for me it's very interesting that I feel an association with the atom itself. Like the core of our being has the same kind of completeness as the energy codex.
It is when we distract it to this single tetrahedron with 4 parts. You see them everywhere. There are also 4 natural laws, and there are also, when you look at the DNA strings, they also have 4 components. Those exactly also resonate with the outgoing and inwarding energy. 2 strings are making it solid, and 2 strings are, releasing it. And you see it everywhere in the gravity, the electromagnetism, and the strong and the weak nuclear forces. It is all going back to the fundamentals, except in religion, by the way. Maybe there we forgot a part.
Yeah, so that brings us probably to the you can say the right to exist of this model. Like, why is it so important that almost urgent that we have the emotional codex?
Wow, thank you for this question. This resonates very deep with my mission. Because when I look in the world, there's a huge disbalance. You see a lot of people divided, separated from themselves, but also from everyone around them. When you look at the comments on YouTube, movies, videos, there's so much hate and so much judgment and so much dividedness that, do we really understand that we are one species? Do we really understand that we are in this together? How can we as the one and only species, destroy our own habitat the way that we do. And we are far from balance. And what I see is that the force that is the foundation of our emotions is the force of interconnection. Our mind, for example, comes forth from the force of information. And when you look at the force of interconnection, that is, we all forgot the force of interconnection. We are connected through feeling. So when we integrate feeling, we will feel the interconnectedness between us, but also, again, the interconnectedness to the living world, the flora, the fauna, the nature. And also when we integrate feeling and really use it as a feedback mechanism, what it is, because it gives feedback of what we believe and think. And so when we integrate our feeling tool, our feeling equipment, we would also integrate everyone and every living species. So when you really understand what the force of interconnection just means, and that we can address it through our feeling, then you would see that we could not harm nature the way we do when we would integrate it. We could not harm each other the way we do when we integrated feeling, and we also wouldn't lose ourselves in this way when we had integrated this feeling.
So it's a call for responsibility, actually.
It is actually a call to use your human equipment 100%. We only used a part of it, and we leave out the most important one. The feeling is, like they say in religion, it is the Holy Spirit. It is the conscience actually that gives us feedback and aligns ourselves with the different layers of ourselves. It is the feeling part is what gives feedback on every thought that comes up in our minds and distract us from our A1. And the A1 is the most important route highway in the Netherlands. So I use it as a metaphor that we need to stay at the A1. And this is, if we understood our emotions, we understood the feedback. So for example, when we stand on a flat building and we look down, we all feel fear and we do a step aside. That is so logic for everyone. But also insecurity tells us something. Also depression tells us something. Also anger tells us something. It all says something to us. It whispers something. It guides us.
And it's a very strange association, but it's a nice example probably in this topic. It was probably around 2008, and I was doing an HBO university, if you call it like this, and I was in a project, and the project was called ID development, and it was like create something extraordinary and present it to the rest of your study members, and I was the director of this small group of students. So we had like somebody who was filming, another one was writing, and I was director. And I made the title of this project was Attractive Attraction. And we put the 2 chairs in the room, and we make this sort of movie that somebody was into a roller coaster and went down. But with the speed and with the G power, this person would lose all his senses.
Oh.
And so it was very like almost an art university. So first he was losing his ears, and we made with stop motion that he had no ears anymore. And then he was losing his nose, etc. And then there comes this moment that he loses his mouth, and then you cannot hear him scream anymore. And then he was losing his eyes, and then the whole screen was black, and then it was over. So, but in the end, so the project was called Losing Senses. So in the end, there was only one left, and that was your feeling. So how does it feel when you lose all the body parts that make you feel? And that was of course very double, because you can feel sad even when you don't have a nose, have no eyes, etc. And for me it's about this topic, that we have this we are unconscious about exactly what you were saying, that we have a mechanism or a warning agent, but we don't see it as a guide, but we see it as something. We blame the messenger for the message.
Yes, almost like a perpetrator. Yes, we are scared of fear itself, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when we experience negative feelings, people desire to get rid of it.
Yeah, and why you think? Is there a reason that we are fearful about fear? Because it sounds like it's stupid.
Yes, that is actually a human trait. Because, we of course can think in the future and place ourselves in the future. So the idea of fear and is that we want to avoid. So that's a strange thing, because human is a thinking, reasoning species. So that makes it more complex. And but also we are programmed with avoid pain and gain pleasure. So it is true that when we experience negative feelings, that we are out of balance, and there's a longing to get rid of the feelings, because we want to restore our balance again. So, and when we have very positive feelings, it is actually we are very aligned and accelerating in that, and that also explains us how well we are aligned, and there we want more of. So that is completely legit, zeg maar, that we want to avoid the negative feeling. But the way we do it, by suppressing it, ignoring it, ventilating on the other, doesn't work, because then we don't look and we have no consciousness about it. So only when we want to look, so be willing to feel and listen to what the emotions tells us, we can put consciousness in between and break the cycle of what we've always done. So when we do what we've always done, we get what we've always got. Mm-hmm. So, and this is what in Eastern religion they call the wheel of rebirth. We think it's about reincarnation, but it's not about reincarnation. The wheel of rebirth is about that in every moment, with every breath, we build our universe onto our inner worlds. So our belief system is projected into our outer world, and that is continuously repeating itself until we stop the wheel of rebirth, change a piece, and then something else will be projected. And our feeling equipment is actually the ringing bell that says, hey, something is going on. Mm-hmm. You are repeating something that isn't healthy for you anymore. You have to look and change, and with that evolve and grow.
Mm-hmm. It's also interesting that this whole codex, so in the physical object you showed us, like Einstein, you will not find the solution on the same spot where the problem is. So in this codex you can turn this object around, or you can look at another color and another dot. But it's interesting if you compare it, for example, to a kaleidoscope. Mm-hmm. Because the moment you turn it, the whole landscape changes.
Yes. Yes.
And that's probably what you mean, or not?
By changing one piece of information in your inner world, yes, your outer world will change. So it interacts with each other. When you talk about the Emotion Codex, there are 8 different emotional forces, so energetic forces that are of influence in shaping ourselves and our reality. And when one emotional force is out of balance, out of aligned, the rest immediately interacts. And before you know it, the whole system is out of balance. And you got very tired of that. So in the beginning, it wants to help and restore the balance. So other emotional forces are also become active to restore the balance. But human is very stubborn. And they, for example, when we are sad, we dive into the sadness and we think, okay, there's a reason that I'm sad. There is a sad story I need to find a solution. Let's dive into the sad story. Oh, it is really a very bad story. Oh, yes, I'm a victim of the story. Oh, that happened all my life. Wow. What was I a victim all my life? And it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. So instead of listening to what actually the sadness wants to do and release us from, we grab and give attention and we hold on to it. So because of, we sometimes think the emotion is proof for our misery, but it's actually helping you to balance.
Yeah.
It's a paradox.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting that in making these stories, and I also had a conversation last week with a guy who said, well, my website, well, the reason I'm not building it, and he was not building his website for 1.5 years, and he's a coach. Yeah, the reason was that he never got seen by his father. And then and then I said exactly something like this to him, like, well, how does it help you to keep this narrative alive?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you could probably also say that building websites is not your favorite thing.
Exactly. Exactly. And that is something of the chooser. We can choose the way we look at things.
Yeah.
We cannot change how it evolves itself, but we can change the way we perceive it. Yes, and that's a nicer word in English, by the way. Perceive.
Yeah, it's so true. What if we now zoom in on you a little bit more? And I know there's a whole scope of colored dots, but one of these dots is this black one, and it's you. Was there a necessity in you to create this codex? So why on earth were you especially the chosen one to get this download from source about this topic?
Well, that's a very deep story. And maybe you don't believe it. I'm not sure if I believe it too, but it feels this way. I got all these images and I see myself sitting in a gathering of 12 creatures, 12 alienish, bluish creatures in some kind of reality which is very energetic, less dense as Earth. And I see myself as an energy master teaching children and showing them how to create with energy. And there was this group gathering of creatures who are specialized in certain aspects of energy. And in the group gathering, I feel there's a discussion and a decision that we are going to help. And so it for me, it doesn't feel like I'm the chosen one, but but I've chosen myself. But then I'm not speaking of the Vera I am, because actually I feel more that creature than I feel the earthly Vera. So for me, the earthly vehicle is of service to this agreement I've made. And so this is very intimate question, by the way.
I realized that it was intimate. I'm sorry.
Needed to come out, apparently.
Well, but for me, so also for the listener, you see a new decoration, and maybe another vibe. Probably you can feel it, but when it comes to your topic of the Emotional Codex, I had a very strange epiphany when I was in Spain, and it was I think 6 or 7 months ago that I decided to write a book, and I had a writing coach in Spain. She's from Belgium, but I was in Spain, and she said, well, if you have some struggles and doubts about your topic of your book, maybe you can do this Sedona meditation with me. And I was like, to be honest, I was like, oh my God, here we go again. another meditation and something to heal. It was on Zoom. And I was sitting on a roof terrace from my apartment, and I was alone. And I was maybe 100 meters from a church. And I knew I had to do something with the topic of mastery and making a masterpiece. And then I was in this meditation, and it was really that and it's very strange and also very intimate to say, but I got this feeling that if there's if we really want to create something that lasts, if we really want to create something from origin, we not only need to look at the world right now, but we have to look in the past, because the world right now is about starting over. It's about quick fixes. It's about yesterday I heard in the news that they wanted to make the Formula One racing games shorter because the new generation won't watch the whole game anymore.
Wow.
And if you compare it to padel in comparison to tennis, it is also shorter. The distance from the ball is shorter. The field is smaller. And the game is shorter, and you don't need to run so much. And I was like, wow, this whole world has forgotten the beauty of devotion, has forgotten the beauty of choosing for one partner, for one house, etc. And I was in this download, and all these epiphanies came. And later I get the scientific proof that it was true.
It is so interesting watching you while you're telling the story. Your whole face becomes more colored and visible and almost more physical, more present. Interesting. It really resonated with me what you say about devotion and choosing one thing in life, and wow.
and I think that why I was asking you this question about why is it you to create this emotional codex, because I'm really curious about your journey, because how I see it, you had this book, the Emotion Encyclopedia, with 350 emotions, but then, if I say it right, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it felt like now we have 350 and probably 425 small stories, small pieces of consciousness that can help you navigate through life. And then the journey goes further, and now this codex is like an appointment between all those different chapters.
It is more fluid, more energetic. So it is actually a chance to really understand how energy works and how we interact with different energy forces inside and outside of us. And that is very much of service. For example, these are the underlying communication lines between people. For example, yesterday I had a conversation with my daughter, and she is in the age of experiencing with intimate partners. And I told her as a mother how my husband and I met each other, and how it is all a matter of feeling. So, for example, when we come closer together, we become a we energy. And so I said to her, when you feel how your energy is changing together with someone else, you only have to figure out what kind of relationships is of service to this kind of energy. It is not the other way around. Could this be my partner? Could this be a partner? It is you feel attracted to someone, and then you figure out what kind of relationship fits this feeling. So it's all about feeling. I again lost your question, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, it was maybe more about the journey. Like first we have these particles of emotions, and then this codex combines or brings them together.
Yes. For me, it was actually like the Hobbit movie after the Lord of the Rings movies. So, and it was also a playground for me to learn a lot about needing to be a teacher, because I had very much resistance against that, because everything in my life has always been about this. It is almost sometimes like a curse. Some people maybe are jealous of the role I need to play, but it's sometimes like a curse. There are a lot of sufferings also, because I needed to experience every feeling, every emotion. So I suffered a lot especially in my youth. And so I needed to learn to be a teacher, but I never felt that I was more than someone else. I have very much resistance by climbing a pedestal. But then the groups become larger, and they couldn't. I was sitting on a cushion, but then people at the back of the room couldn't see me. So, for example, that was a very important thing for me to say, okay, if I really have to do it, okay, I will stand before, but I don't like it. So it was very personal. My journey now was very personal, and I think I reached the point that I matured enough to receive this information and also take responsibility for it, have the business skills developed to really give it a vehicle, and that it can stay alive in the world. So it needed to evolve. So for me, this is a starting point.
Wow, yeah.
Yes.
And is this codex something that popped up out of nothing? I mean, or when you go back into old civilizations or cultures, they already had something like this?
Yes, I think that what I explained earlier in this, that we left these symbols. We left these symbols for us, for our future selves, to remember it. But the further we go to the future, the less we understand it. And I think we almost reach a moment that the information is available for everyone. There's almost everything is now in the open once we recognize it. But I think for that we need a clear line and also need to throw overboard a lot of mistakes. Actually, it is also the emotion that will tell us when there are mistakes that we need to throw overboard. Because a lot of people suffer from trauma and have very dense systems and haven't the transparency to see the light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when it comes to trauma, it's a very popular topic.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when we go 15 years back, we only used the word trauma when it really came to people who were in war or had a car accident, etc. But now I hear everybody speak about their trauma. What is your feeling about this popularity?
Well, I've never seen it like that actually. So this is nice to ponder about. But when you say my trauma, I think that is dangerous to say my trauma. It's identifying with a trauma. Although I think it is important to take responsibility. But every human has trauma because we need experiences to be programmed. And so when we suffer from pain, we imprint certain beliefs about what is happening, and that is shaping our identity. So we need to fall and stand up again. We need our wounds. But when a wound is so severe that it holds us back in our lives, then you could speak of trauma, and there's something that needs to be done. And then again, our emotions tell us, it hurts, yes, you need to watch. It's a ringing bell. Mm-hmm. When it hurts, when something happens and it hurts, then maybe this is the time that you need to look at it.
Yeah.
So this is it can be that trauma isn't on the surface and is perfectly fine over there, because in a certain way it protects us in our present state. But when we evolve and got stronger, it comes to the surface and something is happening, and wow, what's happening? Yes, all trauma is ringing, because now is the moment to look at it. So I don't think trauma is really a problem when it doesn't hold you back. Mm-hmm. But from the moment it does, we need to look. But then our emotions will tell that. So it is perfectly fine to live our lives in the present moment.
Yeah.
Because only evolved traumas are here.
When it comes to this saying in Dutch, we say, if you want to feel better, you need to become better in feeling. Mm-hmm. And am I right that you invite people to feel better?
Yes, also. I invite people to understand how it works, what they want to tell us, how beautiful and miraculous it works to vitalize us and to balance us. But also a lot of people experience emotions physically. Oh, my stomach. Oh, my head. Oh, my shoulders are cramped. But actually emotions are energetically. So the entrance can be that you recognize them somewhere in the body. I also teach where in the body, which emotion group. Mm-hmm. But in the end, when you are more interested by it and you practice feeling, then you will become aware of them when they are still energetic. And it is like you throw a little rock into a river. Then when you throw it in the river, there's a very subtle ripple. But this ripple, the more it ripples out, the more it becomes denser, and in the end, it can be a tsunami. So when our energetic system is out of balance, it begins with ripple, and when we don't notice it or ignore it, then it becomes It becomes a tsunami.
Yeah, but for me, the interesting part here is because I also spoke to a friend of mine who is now physically changed in a positive way. So she was losing weight, but also her face appearance, everything had changed. But now she is so sensitive that her world is not very easy to navigate in, because I also have it myself. I work in a coffee place almost every day, but since 1 week it's like, my God, this music, these voices. So is there a risk in becoming oversensitive? Because what you say is true. Like, if you don't see this starting point, it can become a tsunami.
Yes, and so you can stay more to A1 when you feel the ripple earlier. But when I listen to your story, you say that is there a risk that we all become so sensitive? I would say that would be a privilege, because when everybody would become this sensitive, the whole society would be decorated differently.
Great, yeah.
We would integrate more nature because that relaxes us. We would lower the volume of the disharmonic voices and sounds, because it isn't healing for us.
Yeah, I also heard in the Taoistic teachings that having a very loud voice stands for not being very close to source.
I can imagine.
And also in Course in Miracles, they say the ego shouts, but the heart whispers.
Yes.
And so I really resonate with what you're saying here, because we can ask ourselves, like, when the music is so loud in a cafe that you need to raise your voice to make yourself hearable, like, why not putting the volume down of this music?
Exactly. We went to a restaurant last week and the voice was so loud, and I was walking through the restaurants finding a place that was more of ease to us, and I couldn't find it. And we were there for 5 minutes, and I said, I'm sorry, going to another restaurant.
and why do you think that the world is now so loud and so sharp and bright, etc.? Because all these screens and these colors and everything is so bam in your face. Why? If you're philosophing on this topic, what do you think the reason will be?
Well, what comes to my mind is that we become numb. We become numb, and it is also that I think we are chasing experiences to feel alive or something, but we cut ourselves off the life source, which is within.
Yeah.
And
when it comes to this Emotion Codex, like, does it feel like that you find all your meaning in holding this flag of Emotion Codex?
My personal meaning?
Mm-hmm. Like that you stand up every morning next to your family, of course, but that you feel like, wow, this is why I'm here.
Yes, there are times that I feel, wow. When I look at the system of the Codex, wow. When I look outside of the universe and the world, I think, wow. When it comes to playing my role in it, I cannot do anything else. It is inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
It is like I cannot do anything else. So the moment, and that counts for all of us, the moment that we are totally devoted for what we came for, totally devoted for our part of chain, it feels very fulfilling. Almost above all. It's the most fulfilling feeling of really doing what you came for and use your full potential of service.
And was it like one day you woke up almost like an enlightenment? You got this download, like it was also a surprise to you, or it was like that you already knew something like this would come through your consciousness, and that you said, "Let it come."
We have such a nice chemistry, because you pinpoint in something and I can echo for it. And actually this question, I forgot how it went, and now you ask it, I remember again. I remembered that I felt something was coming a few weeks before. I felt, and I had this earlier, I had a few downloads, and I felt this restlessness, something is happening. But then when the moment come, it was like an instant, like a hammer on my head. Oh, and it was a moment that I couldn't think reasonable anymore. I felt like there were codes inside of my head. Actually, there was a few weeks that there was a night that I grabbed my mind and I almost say out loud, "Oh, I'm going to become crazy," because all this new information comes from me, but with my human mind, I didn't understand it. Oh, I'm going crazy. And then I got a thought about my father in the 2 days before he died. I saw him, and then this painful feeling, almost like this picture demanded me to look. And then I looked at the picture and grabbing my head and seeing my father on his deathbed, and suddenly he changed into a creature of light. And then I hear this whisper, and he said, "You have to think 3-dimensionally." And then suddenly I saw these symbols changing to 3 dimensions, and then it made sense.
Yeah, it is talking about emotions. When I speak about my meditation in Spain, and when you speak about this, I'm sure people are open for it, can feel it too when they look at it or hear it. And before, I also didn't know that this topic would arise, but a couple of days ago it was also very interesting that I had a free day because I had another podcast and it was rescheduled. And I chose, because I was not completely healthy, to have a walk, because I learned from you that when you're tired, you need to ask yourself the question, is my body or my mind tired? Mm-hmm. And I realized my mind is tired, but I can do a long walk. And I walked to the Bavo Church, which is a church from 1500, and it's now almost 750 years ago. And when you talk about something that ever lasts, it's this church, because it's the only existing building from the same time that Mozart played there in that church. I found out, and also that Da Vinci started painting the Mona Lisa in the same year that it was built, there was something also with these numbers that was crazy. And I was there in this church, and I paid €4. A lot of churches are free, but I went in. I was sitting there first to calm down because I was tired, and then and it's very personal. And then I was there sitting on a chair, and there was this woman who asked me, "Yeah, it's now 12:30, and until 1 you can go into this gate, and then there's a silence place, and you can do an offer or you can do a prayer." And for some reason, I put it there on a paper, and also in my mind, like don't let me forget my function, which comes from A Course in Miracles, and I wrote it down. I didn't know why, and then I walked back, and there was this little preaching house. I don't know the English word for it, but you know it. When you have a small stairs with a sort of cocoon and people can preach from this place. And I was sitting there and then I asked ChatGPT, like, what is this? And it's very strange to use ChatGPT for a conversation in such an
holy place.
Yeah, but and it says, well, these stair holders are from metal, and it stands because the house is of wood, and it stands for that everything will pass, but the word of God will always be there. And then I was looking on the top of this little thing, and there was standing the sentence blijft, and with a Y. Remains, exactly. So I asked for, what does this word mean? And then ChatGPT says, like, it's that the truth and essence will always remain. And I walked there into the church to feel my book topic, which is about this topic. And then I now have this picture on my phone where the word remains, and realized, and also Rick Rubens, he's like an artist. He says, like, when your surrounding starts communicating with you, be prepared, because then something is happening. and it's just a story in a way, but it was also like almost too much for me. That everything was resonating in the right direction.
Yes, I can imagine, because then it is your whole nervous system that needs to adjust to letting it flow through you to the outer world. That is so completely the other way around as we used to live. It is, yeah. And what I always also like about your story is that it explains how we as individuals all walk our own path and get all these signals and opportunities and advantages and challenges. And so it is never about the truth. Our life is a personal journey, but by being true to your own truth, you are playing the role that you need to play for the whole.
Yeah.
It is such a nice paradox of living your own truth and by that being of service.
Yeah, it is crazy good, and I also and that was exactly what I was also feeling when it came to this word mastery or becoming a master. I was like, oof, what an ego show.
Yes, wrong.
And then I heard a song from Leonard Cohen, and he sings, I thought that I heard your master sing when I was sick in bed. And I found online somebody who said, like, when he was talking about his master, it's a metaphor for source. So that's also this paradox that when we think, like, who am I to create a masterpiece? Or who am I to become a master? But the thing is actually that the real master is that you are connected to the master.
Yes.
The real master is that you're connected to the master.
Yes, and it is such a nice, energetic motion ook, because when you're connected to the field or the source, you can download what wants to be expressed through you. So you download it, but then through you it becomes visible and tangible. But then it is important to own it, because only by owning it you take responsibility to give it to the world and guard it, as you told me in an earlier conversation, to guard it as a child.
Yeah.
It was such a lovely metaphor that you gave that. Can you tell it again?
Well, we had this conversation about when you have a topic, or you feel like your emotional codex, and for me it's about this topic of building something that lasts and creating a masterpiece, like that. You get all this information, and then other people see the potential, or they want to use it, but you're actually afraid. And also one misunderstanding is that you're afraid only because you want to make money from it, or you want to grab it and can say, I did it, it's my work, etc. But the thing is that the real worry is probably not that somebody uses your name, but the real worry is that this potential beautiful idea or topic will be destroyed by the mass before it is strong enough to really make impact. And then we came to this metaphor of a mother and a child. Like, it's probably not ego that a mom protects her child, but it's that you see so much potential in this child, and that it feels like your birthright to
it's also like as a mother, it is also like an agreement, and it is something you don't even think about. It is an agreement that you make with a child. I will make sure that you are healthy and protected till the moment you can walk on your own feet.
Yeah, and I think the invitation to everybody who has this download probably is that we give it enough attention and time and materialize it in all kind of shapes until the moment we feel now we can let it go, like a mom can let go her child.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And before this point, you probably need to hold it for yourself. I don't know, or carefully share it.
Yes,
yeah.
And protect it. Yes, so it counts for everyone who has something. To express.
Yeah. And you already have an online course about this topic?
Oh, yes. Yes, I've built a new platform, and it is called the Emotion Codex. And there's an emotion mastery program, and that is actually a program, a journey that is about 1.5 years and 10 courses. Each course has about 13 hours or 15 hours of video material. So you do 1 lesson a day with exercises. And we are also a community. Every week I'm there to guide everything. And so there's teaching, there's practice, there's community, and there's guidance. Also funded in the 4 parts of our existence. And it will totally change the way you perceive life and also join life. And we go through all these 8 emotion groups, and every emotion group also correlates with a life theme. And every life theme builds on the other. So, for example, first of all, we do the Black Bull, and it's all about becoming a someone. And being in a physical body and in this earthly reality, how does this work with perception and projection? And then comes fear. Then we go out in the world, and we also and shame is an inward energy. Fear is an outward energy. That sounds crazy, I know, but it's true. Then anger, and then disgust, and then sadness, and then joy, and then surprise, and then love. And then we go back again into the Energy Mastery Program. That's another program. So this is a program that that really teaches you through your emotions how energy works and wipes everything that is holding you back out of your life and build on new healthier ways of living.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
When it comes to yourself and your book about autism, it's all for some people it can also sound like a paradox. Like, how can somebody who says she's autistic or she has this spectrum, how relates exactly this kind of person to this whole realm of 425 emotions? So,
meaning that autistic people wouldn't feel.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that I believe in it, but I know this is a cliche.
It is a cliche, and it's totally wrong. I would say autistic people feel so much that they cannot find the words for it, because for an autistic high sensitive person there are a lot more emotions than 425.
Wow.
Yes. So what shapes when I compare a neurotypical person with an autistic person, and then the development of an autistic person, it is it is very sensitive, also very intelligent, but the connection with the body is more difficult, and it's also very living in the now and changing all these pronouns. So there's not actually really sense of I. That is difficult. For me, it makes me stay in a feeling zone. A lot of autistic people fly to their heads and the rules. I didn't do that. I stayed in the energetic realm. But it gave me a very practical and structured mind. So looking at emotions, I could see them very in detail. I could feel them and also put them in a structure. So actually it's very logic that an autistic brain saw through the system at a very fundamental level.
Yeah, and yeah, in the codex this all comes together. Mm-hmm. But also this like categorizing emotions and like feeling and the more absolute is also a sort of paradox, and you made these feelings almost absolute, and so for me I totally get it, and at the same time it feels like one big paradox.
Yes, but the whole universe is one big paradox until you understand the paradox. It's a very thin line in how we perceive the world divided, and seeing the logic and the interconnectedness of it. Mm-hmm. And yes, I think the paradox, I don't see paradoxes actually. I only see energetic logic. But I understand that people see the paradoxes when, for example, you are trapped in a two-dimensional painting, colored, and then you realize everything is three-dimensional and even more colored. That is a wrong example, but it is like being trapped in one perspective, and that everything that you thought was true was totally different, but in the end you realize it's the same truth. But I didn't see the completeness of the truth. Something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think what I get from this whole conversation is, yeah, for me my whole topic is become a thought leader about something, and we talked also before that the word thought is not the right word here, but you stand for a domain. You're holding a flag for a kind of a vision, and that that is really about the individual who can be this source that downloads something extraordinary, and at the same time the promise you make with this whole codex, it's like how I see it, it's like not only seeing the relations between your thoughts, your feelings, and
actions.
So it creates relations inside yourself, and that facilitates that you can have better relations outside yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. that yeah, and I think when it comes to this podcast, probably we're almost at the end of this episode, and that's I believe that we can have dozens more of this kind of conversations. But for me, it was like what Steve Jobs was saying, like connecting the dots in the end. So I had 3 podcasts this week. 2 were replaced, and that resulted in the fact that I'm now here with you in my new studio, in a new topic, in a new energy, and also having another kind of conversation than I have normally. But in the end, I understand why you were the first one. And for me, it has everything to do with people who have this connection with source, or with information, or with the collective, or I don't know the right word for it, but for me it has everything to do with doing exactly what you're here for. And I hope that in the rest of this series I will have more people who are feeling that they're holding a flag for something, and to give stage to this kind of people, I guess. Yeah.
Wow. So this was something that you didn't, you followed the feeling of something needs to change, and this is the conclusion. So how I'm trying to make sense of how does the podcast really change? What can people expect now?
Well, I think before it was about people who talked about health, personal development, and entrepreneurship. And when it comes to this emotional codex, it shows us that there is an interconnective, you can say, appointment between all these different parts. And I realized myself going into the direction of the successful entrepreneurs and the very big and important names, etc. And then I realized that I was hiding a big part of myself behind the camera. And normally that can also be something nice, that you have something for yourself without an audience knowing about it. But I come from the world of artists, and I am a creator. And then I realized, well, where is this part of artists and creators and people who make a masterpiece or people who stand for something. And now this all comes together. And when it comes to a model, I realize you have like artistic and entrepreneurial people. And then you have like down to earth and you have spiritual people. And what I saw is that a lot of people, including myself in some moments, were completely into something spiritual and lost the connection with the material part. But I also saw people who were completely into money and lost the connection with their authentic part. Or the opposite way around, like I'm completely myself, but how to make money? And then I came to this matrix and I realized there's something I can call the rare overlap. And the rare overlap is what David White says, a place you can call your own, but you can call it your own because you're serving the collective.
Yes.
And that is actually a place where you're making no concessions on being successful, making no concessions on being yourself. Never lose sight on the bigger picture, but also create something material, concrete that people can work with. And
beautiful.
Yeah, and I know some people who are on this spot, but there's a reason it's called a rare overlap.
Yes, but it's teachable, but you can learn it.
Yeah.
You can learn it. So will all these episodes will be in English?
I will... I decided to make some in English, and we will see what happens.
Yes. Well, let's the party begin.
Yeah. If people want to learn more about their emotions or want to work with the codex, what is the first next step they can take?
Visit my website, emotioncodex.com. And the whole program is also subtitled in Dutch, German, and it will be subtitled in French, Spanish, we will see. But it's subtitled in Dutch, so...
Really cool.
Yeah.
And
you can even attend it free for 7 days, so just try it out. See what happens there.
I will also put your old books in the show note. And my girlfriend, she asked, like, I'm really craving for the emotional encyclopedia in English. So
it's already available. I should have mentioned it. I could have brought one.
Wow.
I didn't. Yes, it's already available on Amazon.
It's crazy that I didn't know it.
Yes.
Because I now, it's also very cute, take this book sometimes and read something in Dutch to her and then translate it.
Yes, it is in English. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, thank you very much for not only being the first one in the show, but also for being you. Maybe last but not least, but we had to walk a couple of weeks ago and then I had some physical problems which were really nerve-breaking to me. And you saw me on my most vulnerable moment. Later, these body signs were emotional whisperers, which now help me navigate better in this world. So I'm really happy with this.
Beautiful.
With this navigation and who else than you was the person to see me struggling with my body symptoms and translate it into
positive signals.
Exactly.
Yeah. Always staying positive. Yes, see the pearls in the challenges. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. So for the listener, if you want to talk about this episode, you can leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have something everything we built here, we built from, you can say charity. So if you want to share your gratefulness, you can put on petjeaf.com/heldenhordes, .com/heldenhordes. You can leave a small donation if you like. And thank you for being with us. And see you in the next episode, probably.
Wonder who that will be.
Yeah, I'm also wondering. Thank you.